All right, rubber down today. Big catch up over all the motorsport action. Supercars, F1, a lot of sprint car action. I was at Liddell this weekend. There's been racing everywhere. Let's get straight into it. Gentlemen, what's going on? AG in person. Look at him. This guy, not at work. What do you reckon? A Goodyear jumper, Codeman hat. Binny, you just look like you had a shower. You going out tonight, big dog? Hey?
Yeah, heading to Vivid tonight, so should be good. Yeah.
Bro, come on. Vivid? Bro, I
I haven't done it in a
everyone
few
says
years.
like, oh, yeah, but see what happened? They leave for a few years and they're like, oh, yeah, hopefully it's better than I remember. And you go there and you're like, oh my God, it's freezing. What am I doing here?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that keeps the crowds away so I don't have to deal with a lot of crowds.
Well, bro, it's going to be Monday. So they're not
Yeah.
going to be there. It's just some light show in Sydney that's raved up to be unreal and it's actually a bit wank, I think. But
like moist.
Look,
no.
I definitely would have preferred to do like that glow at Sydney Zoo.
No, trust me.
Nah, it was you done it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well,
It
I'll
was
keep that
just
noted.
like Vivid on Wish, even worse, I thought. But anyway.
Yeah, right.
But
I'm
you
just
do
going
as a
to try
parent.
some of the food.
Oh, food. Okay, food trucks is all good,
Yeah.
but like Monday, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're going out. AG, what'd you do on the weekend, brother? Anything special?
Look, went to the footy. I don't really want to talk about it. Swannies might have got up and Stav might have left at three-quarter. AG might have left at three-quarter time there, but
Binny, the Sonny jersey in the background. Now we're
yeah,
talking. He's a Victorian, as I call them, Mexicans. Footy is AFL to him, and footy to me is rugby league. Where Binny's a bit of both. He's on the border. You say footy just for all round. So
Yeah,
I cannot call AFL footy. I just go, that's AFL. Like for me, I don't know. But and I call it league. I don't say footy, but whatever. But yeah, Richmond and Swan sucked this year, eh? So I don't even know why you'd risk going to that game because when you lose that game, it's literally pure miserable.
well, that's why I went to the game because Swans also suck, but we suck more.
Yeah, look, Swans show up some weeks and play a good game. So they play like a premiership team one week and then they play like shit the next. That's what's the frustrating part about them.
Yeah, welcome to being a Cronulla Sharks fan.
Hey,
Wow.
mate, Broncos aren't much better.
Embarrassing. Thank God I was at the Speedway and didn't have to watch that shit.
Up the wire.
It's even worse coming from you. Oh. Well, boys, I ventured to I call it mysterious Lake Liddell Speedbowl. Heard people talk about it, the micros, and obviously when I hear micros, I think of, I don't know, Formula 500s. You know, we see them on the big tracks, and to me, it's like Daytona Super Speedway. Just they're wide open, and it's just around the bottom. You know what I mean? So I had no expectations, not because I just didn't like them at the big tracks. I've just like, everyone raved on about it. Hadn't seen a lot of footage, seen cool photos from it, right? So Mitch Biner, the guy who's been running it all, said, would you come and check it out? I said, sure, why not? I got nothing on this weekend. Harry loves going now. It was a cool event where you got to take the kids in the pits. Everyone could go in the pits non-stop, relax, didn't charge extra. Kids were free. So Harry got to scrape mud off cars and hang out, and it was cool to, you know, be in arm's reach of him. We don't really get to do that at all, and we're filming and travelling. The kids aren't allowed in the pits and stuff anywhere besides Perth, but they haven't been there yet. It was freezing. Like, I mean, it felt, when you're there, you're like, now I know why we don't race in winter, because it's just too cold. But even though you can get over the cold, oh my God, like, it would have been pretty gnarly sitting there. Like, we all come home red sunburnt purely because of how cold and windy it was. Like, you know, the face got hurt a bit. But in general, it was awesome to see a micro at a track where they belong. And when I say belong, just purely like, you forget that it's a micro. You're just looking at a cool race car, ripping the lip or doing ripper slide jobs. It's so banked. Like, it's literally on a hill, right? So, like, not like Canberra hill. Canberra's like up and down hill, like on the straights. This is literally like front straight is like a big skateboard ramp. And they come out of 3 and a 4 and it's like, what? And they just do these big dive bombs into 1. And it didn't get real ruddy. And apparently, though, I went on a really good time. The cushion's never been on the fence. And I think they tried something and it was literally like a cushion up to my bloody knee. for a micro sprint,
Yeah,
and they're just
right.
leaning on it and sliding into it and going move and what the beauty of the place is when it gets too top dominant, it actually slows down the top and the bottom comes back in, and they're literally even pace. So like and I think it took a bit of rubber last night, which they like it rarely does because the wheels aren't spinning as much, obviously like a sprint car and late model and stuff. But even in so, the track is small, but we never got to see it. Zoe Pierce got the job done. First time ever being there. First, I think, female to ever win a race there, from what I've heard as well.
Awesome.
So she gets put the number one on for her, whatever, if she goes back next year. I'm sure she will now. But it was actually Powery, not Speedway Australia. So it has nothing to do with... You can have like the young bloke who won, Hugo, he was actually... He had number 7 on the tank, but he had his number 1 from last year, Powery, on the front of his car. Because he runs, obviously, Speedway Australia events and stuff. And, yeah, you can tell it's different. Like, rules and regulations, so relaxed. Like, I didn't see scrutineering, so I don't know what they do there with safety checks or anything. But I don't get me wrong, that's what America's like, apparently, in all their sprint cars and racing. It's just like, yep, there you go. This is a rule, your weight rule. You don't have to run rock screens. Like, I don't think if the guys didn't want to run rock screens, from what I heard, I don't think they had to. But everyone did. And, yeah, just I don't know if there's weight rules. I just literally turned up and went, okay, what's this place about? Seen them run. You know, I didn't really know any of the drivers. I knew the sprint car drivers there. It was cool to see the Dumsies in a lower class, just having fun, ripping it. They were racing things. We had to change gears, like, while you're running. Where, like, the other boys were like, apparently you put it in gear, then there's another gear, then maybe one more gear is like your run gear. So, like, it's just set and go with the 600.
So similar to like a legend car. They've only got the...
I think so. Very
like
similar in that aspect. But, yeah, just... And I will give it to Lake Liddell what they're doing there. You can tell they're really passionate in building the place up. And, like, that's their biggest show of the year. Okay, I'll give it to you. They had food trucks, which is cool. Not a lot, but enough. They tried to push events on as quick as they can. I do feel like there was too many divisions. Like, it could have been a little bit faster. Like, you got to think you're there from 2 o'clock as a fan, and it still finished at 9 o'clock at night. So that's still a long-ass day. But I think if they do get more cars, they will get less divisions because they're already running like 10 heats a day. So, like, that's just for the micro non-wings. And then the juniors had 2 rounds. I think there was 2 or 3 heats each. Then the other things, then the lightning sprint. So, there was a lot going on, which if you're a race fan, you love racing, you got to see a shit ton of racing. So that doesn't matter. I mean, it's no different going to a supercar event. You're there from whoop, whoop to whoop, whoop. So I'm not complaining about how long it is. I'm just saying, like, you are there a long time. But yeah, seeing the track, you literally just like, oh, these are cool. Like, oh, this is really good. And I'd go back to the event for sure. Like, they even had fireworks, bro, for the main event, intermediate fireworks before they were doing a bit of track prep. Like, they were trying to put on a show, like all the drivers say. And I hope that we can get more drivers or people see that place now and they go, oh, yeah, I'll buy one of them to have a go at that. Like, when we're not racing something else. And they're building a track in Maroora. I think that's the place. I'm sorry if I botched it. Down south near, like, past Canberra. They've had a meeting there already, and I think it's under the same scrutiny, Powery. So, but yeah, so I had a great weekend, man, and I couldn't. It made me want to get in one. I'll tell you that. They look bloody cool, like just little, small, not room, and they're just me. So I'll be doing some laps on iRacing, just in case the opportunity comes up. But yeah, awesome weekend, and YouTube video should already be out if you're listening now. We're trying to finish it now, but yeah, boys, Ripper, and it was like BYO, so if you want to get on the terps, bring your own esky, and you could camp there. So, knowing Codeman, if I wasn't filming that, it would have been a pretty hardcore bender. Probably would have fell asleep, but yeah, it would have been a big one. But if you were camping there, you would have had a good swag, bro. Oh, shit. It was cold, but I'm sure it would have made you drink more piss, and then you would have been all right. So, but yeah, so that was my weekend. Boys, your side of things. We got AG here because he's the supercar man. Now, do you want to talk about your bit of background of supercars, or just get straight into it, AG?
Yeah, no, I can. Yeah, I got into a specialised TAFE course back in 2023. at Kangan Institute in Melbourne, and I worked for Penrite Racing for about 4 months.
Nice.
It was a cool little experience, but it just wasn't for me, so I moved on. But yeah, so that was pretty fun.
What did you learn in that time, bruv? Like, obviously you were passionate about it, but now you got to see that behind the sport. So does that change your view of watching it?
Yeah, 100%. It really shows like how those teams are literally like families, like, and how much gets put into it by just everyone, and how just every person that works in a race team, how significant their role is, from the chef to the head mechanic to the team principal. Like, there's no difference in what your role is. Everyone's just equally important.
You said chef. Do you mean there's actually a guy cooking it, or like
Yep.
what?
Yep.
Well, at the track.
Every team will have a chef. They would be cooking in the back tent. Normally they'll have barbecues and all that there, and they'll be cooking stuff.
Yeah, right. I didn't see that at Sydney, Binny.
The chef probably does other stuff as well, Code. He's not just purely a chef.
I was going to say, like, what are these? Like,
he might be like the truck driver as well as the chef.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Depends on what team you're at.
Yeah, okay.
From what I remember at Penrite, I swear our chef was fly in, fly out.
Yeah, right.
And like, what type of food are we talking? Like gourmet or like just minute steaks and shit?
Bacon egg rolls.
Yeah, it can be gourmet as shit. You got a good one.
No, we had some like one night. I remember one night at Sandown we had pasta. That was pretty nice pasta too. Not like just your basic, like pretty gourmet. So it was pretty good.
Not your basic pasta, you know. Not your 7-Eleven pack, you know. Like maybe your Woolies eat-up meal, you know. So.
Had a bit of parmesan and all that on it. It was pretty fancy.
Oh,
palmy. So Perth boys, Binny, you were telling me earlier in the week it's a short track, under minute lap, so you got to get going or you fall behind, and if you mess a pit stop up, it's pretty much over. There was a pretty important pit stop I did see in yesterday's for the Penrite team, wasn't it, AG?
Yes.
Kept them in the loop under a safety flag, and I think they said there hadn't been a safety flag there in 3 years or something.
Safety car, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, there you go. That's where I am. Same, different name. So, you know, that means, is it, when you go to a track and they say hasn't been a safety car there in like 3 years, what does that mean? The boys are just pretty well around there, or the track's wide enough where they can give each other room? Because it looked a bit gnarly, like that one where he pushed old mate Wood off the bloody track. That was like something I'd pull off an iRacing or something.
Look, if there's one thing I can say, the last 2 seasons, or since Gen 3's kind of come in, there was a little bit of nerves about actually running into people and riding off your car because resources were very low with the new Gen 3.
Okay, yeah.
And not just that, the rules were quite strict for a while there, where like if you bump someone, you get a 5-second penalty, and it was like, well, that's just shit. Where this year they've got everything now, and they've just completely relaxed the rules this year. Like bumping and running, all that is just all go, and it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely makes it more exciting to watch, but there's still you can't just punt someone off for the fun of it, but they're letting things play on more than what they used to, which is good. And I feel like F1's doing a lot of that now. Well, they were, and now they're sort of becoming strict again on that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think you need that sort of bit of freedom to let them race and have a bit of a bump, because look, you're not going to be perfect week in, week out. These guys are only getting 14 weekends to run their car, so it's not a hell of a lot of time in the seat, unlike Formula One or NASCAR or something, when they're in their car
weekly,
30+ weekends in the year. But yeah, it was sort of a weird weekend for some teams, like the Walkinshaw and Andretti cars came out on the Saturday for race 1 and sort of race 2. And claimed pole for both of them. So Chaz claimed pole for the first race, Ryan for the second race. Ryan would go on to win that first race pretty convincingly. Didn't really look like he was going to be challenged up front. Had Will Brown and Chaz Mostert come home second and third in that race. And then the second race of the day on the Saturday, Ryan Wood looked like he was about to go back-to-back and claim another victory for the Saturday and sort of claim his second ever Supercars victory. But he had a suspension failure going down into the hairpin, AG?
Yeah, down to the bottom of the track. It was left rear suspension. Now they don't know what happened because it happened on more than one car, and not the same manufacturer either. One of them was a Camaro, one of them was a Mustang. So I don't know if it was maybe a certain rumble strip on the track that was disturbing the left rear suspension. I don't know, but it was very weird how there's more than one car and different manufacturers having the same issue.
Yeah, but like I seem to recall going back a few years, like this track's always been like that on the suspension and stuff like that. They've always had some sort of suspension failure at Barbagallo, and I think it is like the rumble strips that are there. They're going over them pretty hard every lap, so I would say it's probably something that I don't know how often the suspension gets changed on a supercar, but I'd say it's probably not a component that is changed week in, week out for each race. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, they definitely look over it, obviously, but it wouldn't be something they'd change out. But you also got to think, like, I can't really think of, maybe Darwin is the other track I can think of where you've actually got corners like that first sector there, where you got the kind of left, right, and you're just smashing those big curbs at full speed.
Yeah.
I don't know any other tracks you really like that. Like, you think about, yes, there's Gold Coast, but you slow down for them.
Yeah. And then Adelaide's a little bit hard on sort of like components because that first chicane, they're bouncing right over them and trying to keep as much speed as possible.
Is that boys also too, like, let's say Adelaide, it's man-made all the time, so those chicanes aren't worn in? Can that be a thing, or a newer track? Like, how old's the Perth track? Or obviously there's some tracks that are harder on gear, just like dirt track racing, true?
So those curbs, they stay there.
Do they really? Around the street the whole time? They've built them in and for that. Okay, cool. They never change the track at all, do they? All right, sweet.
No, so those curbs actually aren't a part of the public road, that first chicane.
Yeah, okay, right.
That's just like a parkway. That's all that is.
Yeah,
okay.
Like a parkland sort of thing.
Yeah, right.
So they don't have to remove those curbs.
Yeah, and then what about the rest of them? All those chicanes there, the chicanes, and there's not many else around the track, is there?
But saying that though, they are bolt in, bolt out. So they are the exact same chicanes, curbs and all that they use every single year. So it's not like they get brand new ones in every year.
Yeah, okay, I get you. So they can remove them if they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry, but I was going to say quick. So Perth track now, like I said, I'm not a big supercar guy learning. How long has this track been there? And, you know, like what is, like you say, Barbagallo, obviously that's a link to Perth Motorplex and that WA racing scene. So, you know, give a bit of info on that to the Speedway listeners, guys.
Well, it's actually funny you bring that up because in Perth this year at Barbagallo, this was their 100th race. Now, this is the only track on the Supercars calendar that's had 100 races. 100 races. Has there been any other tracks that have had?
What? No, they've gone there that many times consistently and never changed or something, you mean?
Oh, it would have been resurfaced and all that over times. But it's just, I don't know, it's just one of those tracks that's quite violent on the car. But, like, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. Like, it's a great little track. Like, great for racing, great for qualifying. It's a great track. It's just violent on the car, and you've just got to set your car up right so you don't have things fail.
Yeah. And it's
I feel like they said Waters was supposed to be a good favourite there. Was he around the point picture at all on the weekend?
He was thereabouts, but he wasn't like top 3 type.
Yeah.
It was that usual Pickford racing. He was in sort of that top 10, but he wasn't competitive. Didn't have the speed to keep up with the guys in that sort of top 5. And it's sort of that Tickford curse where they're constant. Like one weekend they'll be really good, and then the next weekend they're nowhere to be found, and they just can't find pace.
I feel like they got very big one-lap pace, Tickford. They have all seasons. They had really good one-lap pace for qualifying. So as you get into a race, they're just nowhere. Backwards.
Yeah. Is that the strategies you reckon they're pulling, or is it purely just performance of cars and drivers?
They would go down to performance. Would be their race pace. Yep.
Because everyone would be running similar strategies. Sorry, Binny. Again, like like harder tyres early, softer tyres, temperatures, or if you're starting at the front, you obviously I mean, mentally, do you guys start hard tire if you start at the front to try then hold on and then put the softy on and then drill away, or?
Yeah, it's sort of in supercars. It's sort of split. Generally, yeah, your front part of the field will do their own sort of strategy. So whether it's the hard compound or the soft tire they start on, and then the guys at the back of the field will generally try and go the opposite to try and get their sort of advantage.
There. Yeah, okay.
And the sort of the undercut at Barbagallo is really good. So like you can pit early and get a whole heap of like track gain on the rest of the field. But the thing is, your tyres fall away right at the end, and the guys that have pitted later are obviously going to be real fast and come for you. The only guy that I've ever seen sort of make it work is Craig Lowndes and Garth Tander. Both of them were magicians when it came to tyre wear around Barbagallo. But touching on Barbagallo, we were just saying how they've had 100 races there and stuff like that. Probably they're their last time at Barbagallo now. Because there's talks of a Perth street circuit coming in.
I did say that.
I don't know whether that's been 100% confirmed, AG. It has, yeah.
So, why would they do that, though? Why?
Because
all the
you think of it, you think about it, bud. You move to a street circuit, you're going to get more people. It's going to be right near Optus Stadium, right near the city. The views, the shots that they're going to get of it. Like, it's just, I guess, and sometimes it's the government wanting to put it in to get that tourism sort of sector.
Don't get me wrong,
really
like flying there, you stay at the Star or whatever casino there, and you're like, I'm at the Supercars. So, casino wants it, they make more money probably, the casino already do, but...
Well, even staying where we stayed when we were over for high limits,
it's very close.
You're only an Uber ride, less than 5 minutes to get there. But yeah, so that's a bit disappointing. But yeah, the Sunday race I felt was a bit more exciting, AJ. Brock Feeney obviously got the pole there and ended up winning from pole position. Matt Payne home in second. I feel like those Penrite guys have those cars working, especially for Matt Payne. I think Kai Allen's getting there, but he's still early on in his supercars career, and I feel like if they keep their form going, I think they're going to be real contenders for championships in the next couple of years. And James Courtney in the Blanchard racing car came home in third, which is pretty cool to see the oldest guy on the grid now get on the podium. And it was the first podium for Blanchard Racing. So that's really cool to see. Always good to see someone new up on the podium, and especially team-wise, because over the last few seasons we've sort of seen the same guys up on the podium race in, race out. It was an interesting sort of race. It was sort of very tame to start, and then with about 19 to go, Cooper Murray came to a stop heading down to the hairpin, which triggered sort of a full course caution or a safety car. Which then made it sort of chaos in the back end of the race. Obviously, Golding and Wood had their incident with about 9 laps to go. I think that incident was just stupid on both their parts. Probably more Golding, like he was in a position to finish in that sort of top 10 and get some good points out of that race. And probably could have backed out of it, but on the same token, you're a race car driver, you're going to want to get every position you can, and with Ryan Wood going around the outside, you're probably going to hold your ground. But I don't think he was ever going to make the corner with the speed he was carrying through there. And then Kai Allen and Andre Heimgartner both sort of started quite far back in the pack and came through to finish 8th and 10th, which is really good for them. I think Kai Allen did a long stint on the hard tyre or something, and then went on to the softer compound to end the race. So good strategy there by the Penrite guys and the BJL guys to get Andre back up there. What were your thoughts on the weekend, AJ?
It was a good weekend all round, I reckon. Good for racing. Good support series as well there. It was really good. That race on Sunday, I do agree. I think the Woody and Golding incident, that was just 2 young kids racing hard and not budging an inch. That's all that was.
100%.
Yeah. All that was good to see, James Courtney and Matt Payne, luck was on their side that day.
Yeah.
Luck was on their side. Like they were out. Matt Payne, they didn't even think they were going to make it to the end of the race with the fuel. They were settling for a P12. James Courtney was settling for around about the same place. That same car was just perfect. Like it just played so well for them. I mean, it would have been good as a Ford fan. Would have been good to see Matt Payne get Brock Feeney at the end there, but Brock Feeney's just unmatched. I don't know about Will Brown though. That's a bit weird. Like I think that was a bit funny as well with the Will Brown Golding incident as well. That was quite weird the way that happened, but I think Brown was a little bit too eager there.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Brown is pushing hard because I think he knows Feeney is going so well and he needs to get up there and chase down Feeney if he wants any chance of getting race wins at the moment. I think, as you said, Brock Feeney, like he started on pole, but that start he did on the Sunday was just ridiculous. And even his start on the Saturday was like both his starts on the Saturday were ridiculous. Like I don't know what it is about that Red Bull team and finding drivers to win races, but they always seem to find them and they work them to get those championships for them. Probably helps that they've got the likes of Jamie Whincup and people like that around teaching them. But yeah, I think it's going to be a shame to see Barbagallo off the calendar. Yeah, I think the weekend, all in all, was really good, and I think the championship battle now. I think the only team that really is showing pace to be sort of up there and competitive with the Red Bull team is probably Penrite Racing.
Yeah.
I think Walkinshaw is a little bit like Tickford. Like when we were talking about Tickford, I don't think they've got the week in, week out speed that they need to have to compete for a championship. Whether they find it, we don't know. But yeah, it was an interesting weekend, and now on to Darwin.
Yeah, well, I think my big take out of it is, look, I thought Kostecki would be up there by now. I thought he'd be there winning races. Yeah. That was a big shock to me. I thought at the start of the weekend, this might be the weekend that he really gets it going. But I just don't know what the goal is there with the Shell team, if they just can't find the pace or what it is. It's very weird.
Yeah, I just don't think they have the leadership like what they had with Team Penske being there. I think Penske, when he came in and it was DJR Team Penske, he really made that sort of leadership and everyone was responsible for every little bit. And sort of took as you said, everyone had their role, but I think everyone in that team, when it was DJR Team Penske, went up above and beyond what they needed to do. And yeah, they've sort of just been, sort of MIA all season. Like they've had a few glimpses of hope, both Davison and Kostecki, but I don't know what it is with them. I don't know whether it's just they don't have the right leaders around them at the moment to get the drivers firing. But yeah, they need to find something and be back up there because it's good for the sport to have them up there.
Yeah, well, what got me with that though is because when Brody moved over to DJR, he took all his engineers from Erebus with him. Yeah. And I thought that was a really smart move, having the same people because they won him a championship. But I think they do have the right people there. I think they just need it all to gel. Yeah. They've definitely got the resources, they got the people, but then you don't know what's going on as well because they're losing the homologation now.
Yeah.
Because that's going to Triple Eight. So who knows what's going on there as well with the homologation. Maybe that's what's letting them down. Maybe they're putting too much into the homologation side of things than the actual team themselves, which is very hard to do as a homologation team, is to even it up, make sure you're doing right by all the 4 teams, but also been doing right by your own team. There's a lot of pressure there, and it takes a lot of resources to do it.
I just hope it doesn't end up like a GRM situation, Gary Rogers Motorsport, and seeing DGR leave the sport because they're a big name in the sport and they need to be around as long as we can have them. And yeah, I was sort of a massive Gary Rogers Motorsport fan, and when they decided to step away from the sport, it was a big shame. But again, it was little things like the homologation and stuff like that saw them leave. But yeah, so Darwin next. I was reading for the supercars that they're doing Indigenous round for it, so all the cars are going to have Indigenous liveries on, which is going to be cool to see. They normally do it every year, but I think they've made it that every team has to do some sort of change to their livery for it. So that'll be cool. And Darwin's cool little track. I always wanted to go up there. I think it would be an awesome weekend up there. They do the top fuelers of a night time, and it would be cool if they could do a speedway event up there at the same time, because they're all sort of really close proximity to each other. I don't know whether anyone's ever tried to do that, but I think it would be a cool event to see supercars in the day, top fuelers one night, and then speedway the next night would be awesome. And I think a lot of the drivers would be supporting that as well. So
they could. It's just depending on numbers at Darwin. Like we see before Chariots, the numbers are pretty low. Like it's like 7 to 8 sprint cars at best.
But
I mean, it's prize money, and they wrapped it in as a supercar drag tie-in, sponsors behind it. I'm sure the guys that are still here, a lot of the Queensland guys will trek up there if it, you helped and supported with the tow money, or it was an event like an Adelaide 500 or something, or selected drivers. We would like you to come or something, But yeah, I did want to ask you something. We've spent a lot of time on supercars, which is fine, because all you're saying is beautiful, great stats, love it. You did trigger my brain with the Barbagallo now moving to potentially a city race. So what happened when they did it to Sydney? Why is that still not a race? Why'd they go back to Eastern Creek?
Sydney's, I believe, was the government pulled the funding on that event.
Is it purely that they didn't feel like they benefited from enough, you reckon?
I think it was like you're talking about the Olympic Park complex when they used to run around there. I think it was a lot of money was being spent doing that circuit.
Well, of course, it's a big thing. Like it is a big thing.
Yeah, and it was a massive circuit as well, and I think it was just it was a logistical nightmare for the Sydney Olympic Park guys, as well as the government to fund all the stuff they needed to do it. I think with Olympic Park, it was also sort of the retarring of a lot of sections needed to be done.
Well, they had a lot of bricks and stuff there, remember? It was like those...
Yeah.
It wasn't road. They were running on bricks and that only just screams for tyre damage, like all wear and stuff.
Yeah, so... But I think it was more to do with the government funding got pulled on that event. And it's like at the same time as that was all happening, they weren't running a hell of a lot at Eastern Creek.
Yeah, so they sort of gave it a miss every year, didn't they, or something happened?
Well, the thing was that Sydney Motorsport Park just wasn't up to spec with the current supercars and being able to do all that. Yeah. And then over those years that they did the Olympic Park, Sydney Motorsport Park did their full revamp and sort of became Sydney Motorsport Park, and became the world-class facility it is now. And it made more sense to put lights around that track and make it a spectacle of having night racing in Sydney, but just not around the streets of Homebush.
Yeah.
Which, I think it's worked for them. It definitely has paid off moving it away from Olympic Park. I don't know about Perth moving to a street circuit. I don't know whether that's going to pay off for them. But in saying that, the Perth government seems to be supporting a lot of major sporting events lately, and getting a lot of big events over there. Like you look at the likes of the wrestling they've had over there. They've had UFC over there twice. They're having wrestling over there again end of this year.
And they're having 3 wrestling things all back to back, or 4. Like it's not like you're going there for one event. It's like Thursday, Friday, big event Saturday, Monday, like huge and worldwide, like broadcasting on Netflix. And
so I think the Perth government just obviously has some money to play with in that sort of aspect, and they're putting things on that they think will bring in a crowd. And I think a street circuit around Perth would be cool, and it's going to be a great location to see cars rip around. but just whether the Perth community and whether Australia pulls behind it and wants to go see it.
Yeah. That is the
the
thing.
question.
Like, even I heard a guy, real quick, Aussie, with Perth and events, a guy at work's really big into those ripper horsepower boat racing, like over Europe and Indonesia, China. They go to Saudi Arabia. Like, it's big money, and apparently Perth's even looking at getting an event for that.
Yeah, right.
For tourism. And I think after COVID, when Perth sort of went on their own, like they boarded everyone off, I thought they really went, well, hey, like maybe we should just start backing ourselves a lot more. And they've really come out of COVID as we want to have everything. You know, like even the NRL starting a team there now, like that's showing signs of, well, yeah, like we want to have everything in Perth. We don't want to just be one side anymore. So
yeah, look at State of Origin. State of Origin
going to Perth now,
2 weeks
and
it's sold out.
Like I mean, it's huge. Like people go there because, and I'll tell you right now, after we gone to Perth, bro, like when I remember when I came out, I'm like to Morgan, I was like, yeah, babe, you got to come to Perth. It's pretty good. Like it's chill and just nice, man. So
yeah.
I mean, the sucks,
Coach,
you know.
I don't know if you want to touch on it quickly, but last time we spoke about supercars, we spoke about someone in particular, and some news has come out about that person, Kyle Larson.
Yeah, pulled the pin, didn't they, on the wildcard deal? Did a bit disappointing. I think the Indy. I reckon that's got something to do with the Indy and that frustration and doing too much. I reckon that had to do something with it. What do you reckon, boys?
Yeah, I agree. I think he was just trying to put too much on his plate.
He still is, bro. Like he doesn't stop, man.
Yeah, but I feel like I feel like NASCAR is his main focus, and I feel like all of us have our thing that we like going to do to relax, and I feel like speedway racing,
100%.
Yeah, he's just sprint car racing. He goes out there and he can just when he's barrel rolling into a fence, but that crash was insane. But I think he was just trying to put too much on his plate, and he's now realised that, and it is his time. Like by then, by the time Adelaide's on, it's his time where he's spending time with the family before he does go do a pretty heavy stint wherever he goes racing. Like I believe he's coming back for high limits this year, so he'll be at high limits. So
it would have turned into a 3 to 4 week trip for him.
Yeah, I think he's just he wants to spend some time with the family without having to worry about racing for a little bit as well before it all gets busy again.
I mean, let's if you're Hendrick Motorsports, right? He does the double. It was not successful. The whole day was a shamble. He crashed everything, and I'm not saying it just happens racing. But then he hasn't really bounced back since. Like I think he nearly got lapped the other day in NASCAR. That's rare for him. High limit. He junked it, he's luck. Well, not the luck, not everything's running so smooth. And I think it's maybe that I don't need to race everything right now.
Yeah,
because you got to think from when we said the Indy last year, period. That's like that bloke. Like he's obviously easily the most lapped race car driver in the world this last year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Like no one has enough seat time as him. No F1 driver, no supercar driver, no drag racer, no other sprint car driver. It's really ridiculous how much he goes, and we literally seen it for him. Like he travels and he must love it or push it because looks like he doesn't even get to enjoy some of his wins. He just gets on a plane, goes. I'm going.
Yeah,
I'm going. Perfect example. We had 2 hard solos. Coleman said, going, where is he? We're going. And then there's still people having drinks and partying, and he's on a plane going back to America to race Tulsa with his son. But that's him also being dad mode too. You got to I've got to be there for my son. Like he's not just going to race Tulsa because there's no one there, So gnarly, man. So it sucks for his fans. Like that would have boosted the whole event. But again, that's his PR team going, I don't think we need it, man. They need us more than we need it, which is true.
Exactly.
Like it's not like he's not going to lose any popularity or lose a ride out of not coming. So, it's I'm really keen now. We'll jump in. That's a really good segue. This Adelaide 500 deal. Now, Adelaide 500 now has moved to the grand final of Supercars, and that's like December 13th or 14th. I think somewhere around that. So that's a whole month after it's slated. So now December in sprint car racing is going to be disgustingly just like January now. Like busy, non-stop. I think a lot of teams might even hold off to racing till November now, not starting October. You got to think funds and travelling, because who knows what's going on. You know, like what Toowoomba's going to do now with Sydney. There's no schedule release for that. You know, so teams are going, are we still racing at Sydney? Are we moving on to the Victoria schedules? Warrnambool's been on the front foot, put their schedule out. Now, the new race at Mildura, Timmins Speedway. AG, that's a HT for you.
Yeah, local.
Love going there. Now, I think they've already had 3 date changes.
Yeah,
In
so they have had 3
time.
date
Now, do you know
changes.
much why it was changed and what happened there?
Yep, so they've actually had 3 date changes, all for good reason. So
That's what
they've
I mean,
actually
like
done
why?
the date. Yeah, so it's because it was interfering with other races around that kind of down here southeast.
Like such as?
And
Like what are the big races? Like a max
there was
race
an
or
event
something?
on at Murray Bridge I know of.
Yeah.
And there was one more which I'm not sure of. But all the speedways got together and they spoke, and they all ended up changing all their dates around to fit all of them in together.
I like that. I really do.
Yeah, so
it's what we start
really
to need to be doing for the sport. The only thing I will say that's been frustrating for me, like obviously I haven't started booking my travelling and schedule yet, but if you were committed, loved it, you've already paid for hotels, and some people might have lost money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
right.
why I think when they changed it a second time, they were really quick to change it that third time. Now I think it's the 5th or 6th of December. It's a 2-night show, yeah?
Yeah, 2-night show.
And it's that date,
Yeah.
am I right? I've just been looking at
Yeah,
it.
I think it's the 5th and the 6th. I'm pretty sure.
So there you go. It's pretty much a really good time just before around when everyone's going to be near Adelaide, which isn't a bad idea, you know. Now, this is where it gets interesting, and I think we should use that as a sport in Australia to really look at that. And let's use Huset's in America and Knoxville. They never clash, like rarely. One is a Saturday night. Huset's always run Sunday. And that's why guys go to America, and some of them just do the Knoxville Huset. It's 4.5 hours. They try and make each money. You know, obviously Sunday's not an ideal night. People go to work, but they're committed and they always get good car counts. Like they're thinking about those things. Now, someone was bringing this up again. It was a big topic again when we were away at Lake Liddell. Of everyone talks about national series and stuff, and someone asked me again, and they just kept asking me about it, and I was like, "You want my really opinion?" I said we need to start small, but make it feel like supercars. Less is more, like really small, but that can also help spread the funding and make it seem like the biggest deal in the world. So I would say 6 tracks, but 2-night shows at each 6 track and fit it in. It's 12 rounds. You get a rain out, you still might get a day. You know what I mean? Like, you can say you can finish it in Perth around the Barbagallo time, but you're going to have a month off. Because of...
Yeah.
Which is not a bad idea. Like, supercars have a month off. Like, it's not like we would lose interest. We'd be thinking about going to Classic and the title, like, hey, you're winning the big... the national series, how do you feel getting through these races? Like, you're still there, or is it a bit of time to relax and absolutely send it now for the Classic and title, not points race? And, so, I mean, personally, in my world, I'd just put the Classic as a points night. Yeah. Add it in, get it talking, round 11, but then, no knocks for nationals do that. But I just mean, like, it's there, and then... Just, I really feel like this date making, like now you've seen, like now I believe Red Hot's shootout to Toowoomba have now moved. I believe they're sticking to that April date. I feel like they said, wow, we got a great crowd. We're on our own. People can plan for it. And I believe Tolma already snatched that up around that date. So, but that actually works pretty good. The only place it hurts, if Sydney gets dates in, no one's going to be coming through from Toowoomba to South. So just like last year or the year before when COVID was around, Sydney is getting left behind on a marquee date or getting in the swing of things. And, that's no one's to blame. I don't think. They've just got a lot of stuff going on there. I think they're still working out, and there's still a lot of growing pains at Sydney. COVID didn't help that, but, everyone needed to jump on the dates, and Tolma, I think, after success of that one night they had. You got to think now Tolma might have 3 sprint car races around that busy period now. So they might have the 2-night show around the early 14th, 15th, 16th January. And then they might have that in between like 24th of January or after the Classic before the Australian title, which is all around it.
Yeah.
You've got the President's Cup that's going to be on the 19th. So a lot of teams will actually start after high limit. I'm going to think if you're like ready to run there, teams will go high limit and potentially instead of now going to Queensland, they will start at Tolma Speedway. So that actually helps WA teams because that's actually not a bad route. And everyone goes to there and then they go to Presidents. Then it's the Borderline, which that'll be a big night because that's where the Australian title is this year. That'll be, every car will be there. Like that'll be probably the biggest King's Challenge in a long time. And then they go, obviously the Classic. Warrnambool, there's no other races there. They'll juice it up. Normally they do have that 19th show, so maybe even guys, they'll still have that after Tolma, sorry. So it'll go like in between. They normally go, we'll go Tolma. If Warrnambool still have that race they always have, then Avalon, then Borderline, then back to Classic. But there's a lot of racetracks there in a 2 to 3 hour max place where that is going to be like the capital of January. And then obviously we have the Adelaide. So teams after, which there's only going to be, I don't think there'll be more than 2 to 3 Perth teams for the Adelaide if they do the same deal of the invite stuff. We don't know. If obviously they might change their mind and guys might pick up their form and invite them. But you got to think January, even as a traveller, what we do, Binny and AG, when you help, it's actually great for us. In a way, it's, well, we can stay at Warrnambool still, base ourselves at Warrnambool and do the 2 hours. You know, like you don't have to be at Avalon, which is easy because you fly there, but then you can drive 2 hours to Warrnambool and stay there the night after, and then drive the 2 hours to Tolma, then drive the 2 hours. Like a Bunbury trip, Binny. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what it is all the time. So, and for race teams, I guarantee a lot of race teams will do that just to add a Warrnambool.
Well, my plan is my plan is for that Classic week, I want to do the whole lot, Avalon, Mount Gambier, Warrnambool. Yeah. And I'm just gonna camp it. Yeah. The whole way. That's my plan.
I really do think tracks, that's a great opportunity to really bring the camping back, and that'll bring bigger crowds and a vibe to the events. Like everything will be an event. Avalon will be an event. Mount Gambier, Borderline. There's places there. Like when you go to Murray Bridge, there's a huge car park. I know they use it for car park, but unfortunately, tighten it up. Make the first little bit of camping bit. Avalon, huge.
Mount Gambier does that really well. They do the whole campground there.
Well, there you go. So, and then Warrnambool, it used to be a camping ground, but they don't really do it anymore. Bring it back. Like, we should be, I know it sounds weird and people go, oh, drinking and tailgating. Bro, you want to be tailgating. Like, that's all the social media dreams and everyone having fun. I can't wait. We're here, we're having lunch, we're having breakfast. We drove our caravan from Western Australia. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we drove it from Queensland for the 2 weeks. Like, that's where, like, there's a huge opportunity. I know logistics and everyone doesn't want to deal with it, but you got to think of, like, if you want to bring someone new to our sport and you're like, yeah, come for 2 weeks and check our sport out. Camp with me. Yeah. Okay, sure.
I think the thing is behind it, though, is it's people that have ruined it for us.
That's everything in life, mate. There's always going to be small people. You going to work, Binny, there could be 2 flogs that ruin a big contract. You can go to Perth High Limit, you know, but I feel like we're at a spot in our sport in Australia where people are waiting and like the High Limit, how good was that, Binny? You heard nothing about it. Everyone was polite. You're ready to go. You know, you're appreciative. Yeah, there's always going to be those 1 or 2. But I feel like the people that are there are also going to, instead of security, they sort of tighten up and be like, hey, man, can you just keep it down, bro? Like, we're here to have fun. Relax.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not just about you, champ. You know, or be pretty strict on it. Give them a one morning and piss off, done your campsite. Like, you know, don't be like willy-nilly and stuff. But I feel like if you try to make it a big, like, please don't do this, someone will, because you're putting it in their head not to F up, and they will. You know what I mean? Like, you keep, please don't do this, oh, we're going to do this, we're not supposed to do this. You know, so I just feel like there's a great opportunity. Now, I don't know, like, let's say Sydney, God knows if you're ever going to camp there. It's just concrete everywhere. You'd probably have to be in a caravan in the car park. But, yeah, I just feel like this period, the sport is, for more socials, I feel like it is trying to work and really link everything together. But again, just if you're not got your shit together, you're going to be left behind, which sucks, you know. And, yeah, and even Toowoomba now, I feel like Toowoomba always, you know, when they used to do that USC, that link up, you know, I felt like that really kicked off Toowoomba for me and my knowledge of the place. Like when Archfield was going down and then Toowoomba, but then it had that USC link. And then you knew Sydney guys were going there, so you're like, oh, yeah, okay, let's check out Toowoomba. It matters. It's like, when I say matters, obviously it does matter, but I mean, like, it's linked in and it's got, you know, like now Queensland is literally for a Victoria team again. If Sydney's not got their stuff together, it's a 20-hour drive.
Yeah.
Like, it's literally driving to Perth or more.
Yeah.
So, Toowoomba sort of, you know, want Sydney back in it, I feel, to be like, yeah, link through. We need that link through. But, yeah, so it's cool. The only thing is, I feel like we're in the right... It's moving slowly in the right direction. And Toowoomba is doing a really good job. They're trying, bro. Like, they're doing all the things right. Their social media is really good. They're doing these winter events to keep the place moving and relevant. We'll start off there. Harry Stewart picked up the win the other night. Their first winter show. They were supposed to do 3. They're now only doing 2. Lockie McHugh second and Cody O'Connell third. Yeah, Harry Stewart. He's been really good there over this season. But yeah, McHugh didn't have much for him. Like Harry Stewart drove by him and off he went and looked dominant. A lot of stoppages near the end of the race. It was like the last 5 laps for 25 minutes, it felt like. It looked similar to the track when I first went there in September. A lot of moisture around and the bottom was dominant, but you could just rip the top if you had a really good car. So, yeah, I got a lot of love for Toowoomba after my last trip there, man. I just want the place to be successful and bigger. They're growing that red hot shootout to be a really big event. From things I heard, like that prize money is going to keep going up and up and up. Like that's the plan with that event. And I think they just, you know, they just get Speedway and what it's about, and you can tell the right people around it. And that was similar to where I was at Lake Liddell. They got the right people on board and they're passionate. And I swear to God, like Lake Liddell was probably run better than most speedways I've been to this year for that little place. Like run like they cared, they had structure, all the people in the infield, the crash crew, everyone was ready to go. The flaggy was awesome. He was a young bloke, loved his job. You know what I mean? Like, and even like you got the New South Wales guys were actually the officials there that do the New South Wales stuff. They were there supporting it, doing it all. So it's really good to see. And a lot of Aussies are going all right in America now. Jai Corbett started off red hot. He's nearly made every feature he's been in, and he even made his first World of Outlaws feature straight up. Like, that's pretty hard task. At track he's probably never even been at or only had a few laps at. Kerry Madsen actually pushed for the win at Jackson Motorplex. Mind you, boys, on Bet365, because you can have a play, he was $81 to win that night, and he ran second.
Oh, yeah.
So... it's really cool. I mean, when I'm at work, Codeman puts a little 5 to 10 on, just some roughies to have a play. And like, for example, the other night, Rico Abreu, when he won the Outlaw show, paying $17. Because I think their system, they haven't really worked out. Like, they know Rico's a high limit driver, right? So he was like $5 over there. But when he goes in the World of Outlaws, he's not a World of Outlaws driver.
Yeah.
But he won. I was like, yeah. So, yeah. But it's, Rico. Let's just start there as well. We'll get back to some Aussies. But Rico Abreu is on a mission again like last year. And I know Brad Sweet finishes strong in the California swing in September. But, man, Rico's close now after that disqualification Brad Sweet had a week ago where he ran third, got a flat tyre and did not go to scales and got disqualified. And it tightened up the points real bad. The points are within 16 points of the top 5 now in the high limit. Tyler Courtney had in the lead for one night by 2 points. Brad Sweet got it back. And the common thing lately, guys, is every time the high limit guys go to the Outlaws, they do the Outlaws in. The Outlaw guys aren't beating the high limit guys. and vice versa. Brad Sweet picked up a win the other night. David Gravel looked good, but Rico Abreu and Larson were winning that race. Like when Rico won, like that, it was top 2 high limit. Port Royal high limit. When the Outlaws are there, like they're given the fire, and I think they're starting to breed into that little rivalry now between them. And even Rico on social media the other day when he went and raced there, he wasn't allowed to set his merch 10 up, like his van. Because he's not an outlaw driver. Now, that's the Outlaws saying we're looking after our drivers. We want them to make the most T-shirt sales. But, man, that's pretty, like... You know, Rico has some good merch and big fans, man. Like, I'm sure he maybe sold some out of the trailer, but to be like, no, you cannot do it. You're not a contracted driver. Man, that's crazy. I'm not sure if High Limit do that. I think High Limit let the other guys set it up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure because they have that huge alley, bro. Like, I feel like it's like a rule on High Limit. If you don't have a merch van, you can't be on the series. Like, I think
that's fair enough.
Why do you think it's fair?
I think it's fair for the fact of, it's a contracted championship. And yes, you're a wild card for certain events.
How does that affect everyone else? What, you think Rico's that big, everyone's going to buy his shirt, not yours?
Oh, 100%. For the fact being, like, look, me being a fan who's not really invested in certain drivers.
Yeah.
I just go to the Speedway, and when I'm at the Speedway, I'm like, I want to buy a shirt tonight.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah. You love
it.
And,
you know what exactly right. I end up buying it. And I don't really, like, at the end of the day, I just whatever looks the best. So, in a way, and you think most people probably go to the Speedway for that. They, you know what I mean? They go, I want to buy a shirt tonight. It's one of my first times here. Let's buy a shirt.
I say get better merch in social media. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't blame that Rico's got better shirts than you. That's why he sells them. Bullshit. He puts the work in. He pays someone to do his social media now. I think TB's over there doing it for him. So, like, he knows how much it means, bro. And a lot of guys are starting to pick their shit up too.
And
it's not about results. It's about giving back to the fans and being there for them online, on phones, plus at the track. He would have made a couple grand there, bruv. Oh, he's putting big work in. And so he should. Yeah. He always has. But, I mean, for me, I love it. I love seeing it. Like that video he did. If you haven't followed, Rico's even got a YouTube channel now, man. He did the video on, the different stuff to his race car. Yeah, it's a simple video, but you don't know that. And he even says, like, yeah, everyone comes and checks out my car. Because no shit, you're going to go, okay, he's a pretty small dude. How's he fit in that? Like, what have they done? Like, great idea video. Like, simple, but awesome, And it really gives back to the people that follow him. Now they know. So when, AG, you talk to Binny, say Binny's watched a video and is a Rico fan, you ask a question, Binny straight away can either pass you the video or is detailed and can tell you. You're not even going to watch the video. But don't, like, I get it's contracted, bro, but I would also put your thing on the other hand and say, well, Rico's actually came here to get better car counts for us. He's probably paid here. Why can't he set up his van, bro? I mean, I see it from your side. See, Supercar World's different, bro. Everyone there, you can't just, because the big teams, you have your merch because no shit. Like, where Speedway always is about, bro, you got shirts to sell, hook them on your trailer or put a van up, bro. So, like, that's where I'm like, it's petty. I thought it was. And I knew he had a stab at it because it would light up his fans. Like, to go like, yeah, Rico, make sure you beat him now. But also it is that lighting the fire, High Limit versus Outlaws. And I think it's starting to get big now because the Outlaws aren't beating him when they're together. So I think the Outlaw drivers are going,
See, I feel like it's different for, say, for example, if you're not a contracted driver of a different championship, I don't see an issue. But when you're contracted through High Limits and you come to an Outlaws event, I think fair game. If they're not
if it's that petty, don't let him race. Then see what happens.
Yeah. What was that?
If it's that petty, don't let him race at all. Sorry, you're a contracted.
Oh, that's fair game. Yeah, the championship versus championship.
Yeah, that's but then you lose that crowd.
Like go back to comparing to supercars. A lot of the teams will not let their drivers race in a different series. And even supercars, mate. Like, there was a couple of drivers, Shane Van Gisbergen wanted to race in a TA2 one season.
Yeah.
Just for one-off race. Supercars wouldn't let him because it's a rivalry championship. So they would not let him race.
Yeah, but this is a little bit different. They're still using the same car, bro. It's not like you're contracted here. Like, don't get me wrong. Sprint car team owner, say it was like, okay, Kerry Madson's over there, and a guy in Huset's like versus Knoxville or whatever, goes, hey man, you're a contracted driver. You'd have to ask your team, can I go race that? He can tell you no. But I'm meaning like they're taking their own car and team there, bro. Like it's like literally if Cam Waters wanted to race in T2 and they let him restrict his supercar, the monster thing rolls out. It's still his car, but that wouldn't happen, obviously. But yeah, we'll get wrapping up soon. All right, guys, real quick, we'll get into the Aussies. Jai Corbett's been ripper. Now, the big talking point was Brock Hallett got a win. He's been on fire, started at Attica, but then he got the job done, and I believe it was at Fremont. I hope it was Fremont. I've been all over the place.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
He's had a top 3 straight away after that, and then a top 5 again. So he's sticking around that same where he was last year and he's already had laps at these places. So he picked up the win there, and it was a good drive. I saw a bit of the replay and that, but yeah, he's going really good there. And Ryan Newton's making all the features. I have spoke to Ryan a little bit. He said they're having a bit of motor problems. Like they've been doing a lot of work on their motors, even some nights driving 10, 15 hours to go get it tested and drive back the next night. They're just saying they're not where they want it to be, but the other night was great. Won a heat race, got a top 6, I think, again at Lincoln. So Lincoln's really good for him. He normally goes good at BAPS. Alex Addard has made his way over there now. Was supposed to be in PA, but started in Knoxville and Jackson. Made the feature like Jai Corbett first night out at Jackson Motorplex. A bit of trouble in his heat race, but he still got through it. 8th to 5th, transferred. Then he had a run at Knoxville, made the feature there, I think, first night too, first time. Now, he's a big iRacing guy, so for him, he's literally the first time seeing these tracks, but he, literally before he left at Sydney, was like, yeah, well, I've only raced on there on iRacing. And, you know, so, but it goes to show, like, he's an iRacer and it's transferring me over a little bit, he said, and that's on him, you know, and so they're going awesome. I don't know if many other Aussies are going out. Now, the big one was Ian Madsen is over there, and he had a ride in the 2KS team. Now, that was only a one-night deal. They've got the other young bloke in there. So I don't know what his plans are, but he is there. Ian Madsen is in America. So that could be a cool development there of getting a ride for the Nationals, maybe. They're doing some Knoxville shows. Linton Jeffrey's still been doing his thing around Knoxville in the 39 Tron car. I think he picked up a ride in Canada with Glenn Stiles' team. I think I've seen something on his socials for a few rides there. But yeah, it's been just a lot of, it's a busy week, busy period. The big talking is obviously everyone's saying now, would a gravel still won because he can't beat any of the high limit guys? It's always going to be the talking point now. Gravel still leading the series. He's got a big gap. The high limit series, I think, is the one to watch purely because how close the points are now. Reitel's only like 16 points away, and he can have a crack at winning it if things go wrong. Now, like I said, Brad Sweet getting into that finish swing, so... But yeah, there's another Toowoomba show on, I think on the 23rd of June. And besides that, I think we're waiting for Chariots in September. And then all the dates and schedules are going to start coming out soon. So, like we just talked about, December and January we sort of know, but that early on, start of the race season, like I want to try go to the opener at Perth Motorplex again. That was such a good night, big night for the series. And you also have... You know, like your Warrnables and Toowoomba's first night's always big night. So, yeah, we just hope everything starts rolling and we start getting, you know, pumping social medias for the race pages and, you know, we can start to figure out our year. And awesome having you on, AG. Hope to see you down, Vic, and all that when we travel down there, big dog.
Thanks, guys.
Get you going. And, yeah, Binny, go to Vivid, have some fun, brother. And we'll be back next week. I haven't locked any drivers in. We're just going to keep spitting, and if a driver comes up, a driver comes up. So have some fun, and yeah, have a good week, lads. Real quick, we're not going to talk about it, but where is F1 racing this week, Binny? Just to
at Canada this weekend. So.
Canada. Who normally goes well there?
Max has won the last 2 years.
Of course,
I think,
you
so...
say Max. If it's not Max, it's nothing. Like, come on.
Best track on the calendar.
Is it really, AJ?
I love it. It's
really
my favourite.
So who goes good there normally, AG, on your point of view?
AG.
AG. You can't beat Binny on F1. Have you got the new game yet? Any good?
I don't have
Yeah, it's not bad.
What's different? Is it bullshit? Or is it like the same?
There's nothing really different.
I hate that, bro.
Career modes and stuff like that.
Oh,
but,
I hate that. The only thing I'm keen for is the new NASCAR game, but I better not be let down. Because
It's
like
gonna
I
be
got
let down.
I got
It's gonna be let
NASCAR and iRacing, and I'm absolutely loving it now. I've just got into it. But
You're
like,
going to be let down.
You're going to be
Why?
let down big time.
why? What have you heard?
Because I've already
was-
seen like little different bits of it, and it's the exact same as the old games.
Heat 5? I don't mind. Look, if I don't mind, Heat 5 played well on its own.
Online was terrible.
Online was terrible, and that's what we love doing, playing and racing and making clips.
Next thing you know, you were right in front of me, and then you're 100 metres behind me.
Yeah, it was just rubbish. But I think it had something to do with the servers, because the American servers looks fine when I watch people say. Anyway, all right, well, that's the new game. All the other things, iRacing, Binny's out. AG, thank
I'm out.
you. See you guys next week.